Please hang up and try again.
All right.
I think that successfully worked.
It worked.
I think it did.
Well, we'll see. We'll see later if it's probably us just dancing, is what everyone saw. But that's okay with me. All right, so I'm gonna exit out of this guy because I'm done with it. Boom. So this is a show, right?
This is a show. This is Blown Pixel, which I actually logged into name.com today to see where my DNS and everything was pointed. I bought this just shy of a year ago.
What was this a drunken purchase? I need you.
No. Well, yes.
Yes.
I think there was whiskey involved, but we were sitting around my makeshift wood table.
Yes.
Door table.
Made out of
that was terrible.
It was a door.
It was a door. 2x4s. It was terrible. But you said something, and I said something, and we came to the conclusion that Blown Pixel was a great idea, just as a name. And then we said, well, what could we do with this name? And here we are, 10 months later.
If not longer.
Talking about technology, startups, and culture.
Because this used to be, this was Technicolor astronaut. This was
still a thing. That is still a thing. That is a different project.
Redact that from your memories. Anyone watching this, don't ever use it. It's a terrible name. It's cursed, really.
Just bad.
I got a gypsy, and she cursed it. So stop. Don't use it. All right, so we've finally done this. We should be proud of ourselves for accomplishing one thing in our entire life, even if this
goal met in 2015. The rest of the year is just a breeze.
Yes, and lives really. I think that this is pretty much my high note forever.
Yep.
Ride this wave forever. Okay. So, like you said, this is a show that's supposed to talk about, startups, technology, culture, that sort of stuff. And I think that we first got on the idea of this when watching a little Dick Nation, that sort of thing, and just kind of shooting the shit on the topics of the day. And that's kind of where we've arrived with this.
We do it anyway in our daily life. I think we figured... what if we recorded it to share with the masses? What could possibly go wrong?
Well, apparently our ineptitude
everything,
anything with Hangouts.
Google, we still love you.
Yeah.
But we have no idea how to use you.
It's just it's just gonna be robots. They're just gonna kill us all, and then they're gonna do their own Hangouts. They're gonna figure out that
autonomous video recording.
Yeah. It's gonna be like Space Ghost essentially, but everyone's a robot. So this is the first episode, inaugural episode.
First episode, blownpixel.tv.
Yes, that doesn't exist yet. I'm sure of it, but
no, it does exist.
You just don't have anything on it.
We'll get there.
All right. We'll have a blank page up there someday soon, and it'll be amazing. It might even have text on it. It's gonna be great.
No, it's that logo that you made 6 months ago.
That is true. But by the way, I still don't actually have an asset for it. It's just coded. So even in the intro, the reason why it's got the shitty clipped, you can see the outline of the image. It's because I did a screen capture on it was playing in my CodePen sandbox thing.
It works.
Yeah, it's good enough for now.
You don't ask the butcher how he makes the sausage. You just put it in your mouth and enjoy it.
You're gonna. Okay. All right. I agree with you somehow.
Yep. So anyway, yes, let's get back on topic. Blownpixel.tv, where we talk about startups, technology, and culture, and other news and stuff. Obviously, you're Coty Beasley.
Yes, that is me. And
of the Kansas City Beasleys.
Yes, there's so many of us.
There's so many. I get confused. Coty, how about you introduce yourself?
Yes.
And I'll introduce myself, and we'll proceed to make a mockery of online media.
Yes, yes, I enjoy that. So yeah, my name is Cody Beasley, and I'm basically a product designer, developer, engineer kind of type, and I'm embedded in the Kansas City startup scene, and that's pretty much it. I'm sure I could talk about more boring things, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. And you, T-Ray.
Oh, I am T-Rave, currently hailing from Omaha, Nebraska. I moved up here a little less than a year ago to work for an awesome startup called Flywheel, which is managed WordPress hosting. I'm a happiness engineer there, which means I get to interact with clients on the support side every day. I am a media enthusiast. I love online everything, but definitely media production. And I dabble in code from time to time, nothing worth noting, and we'll leave it at that.
Perfect. We actually have an outline. We try to be at least, a little bit prepared for what this is. So we've got our overview done. We've got our bios done. We're on track.
Yep.
Did you ever?
We're on track.
That's good. So I've got a what's happening item here. T-Ray, what's happening in your neck of the woods? What's going on in Omaha right now?
Currently, it's freezing.
Yeah.
Omaha is a very windy place. So it's everyone's staying indoors. But outside of that, really, I think in the startup or entrepreneurial circles, I think it's just kind of winding down from the holidays. There's quite a few startup holiday parties up here, and everyone just kind of getting on track for this year. And yeah, nothing too exciting. New year, new things to accomplish. So
super excited, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I guess Kansas City stuff right now. I agree. It's freezing. We're what? We're like 3 hours away from each other. Is that accurate?
Yeah. That is 100% accurate.
Yeah. And so I checked the weather. Now it's not anything like it's 29 degrees, which is crazy. I think still, though some people would say I'm just being a wuss about it. But it was crazy windy today. I watched someone actually have to lean forward into the gusts of wind as they crossed the street, and it was just biting. Like, it would get down your shirt, and it would, get everywhere, and it was awful. And again,
Omaha is super windy all the time, but, today, it's, 15 degrees right now. As I was about to open my door, I'm like, this is a bad idea. And I opened it, and, it's just the most piercing wind you will ever feel. And I made the terrible mistake of shaving off my huge beard in the new year. And so, yeah, Omaha and the wind is just ridiculous, and it's just,
You have a picture of your former greatness? This beard is epic. I mean, it's amazing, and you shaved it all off.
I shaved it all off. It's actually coming in. I mean, this is 1 week today, so
I'm so jealous of you.
Stubble's coming in. It's coming in quite nicely. But my idea is to try and not really touch it or trim it for the full 2015 year.
No, I like the idea that you wouldn't touch it. You've got a hermetically sealed bag around it that nothing can penetrate.
Yes. So, we'll see how far I get. I tried this a few years back and got probably 3 months in, and it was just ridiculous. And I was like, I should probably stop looking like a hobo about now.
Did you get into wizard territory where baby birds up in it? I mean, how substantial was this?
It was pretty substantial, not wizard substantial, but very close to birds living in the beard, such as the episode of Family Guy and Peter when he finds the family in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do yourself very proud. I mean, I can't grow anything. We've made fun of this. We've got a friend, Ilya, that has said he would grow his beard out and then actually let me have it, which is pretty creepy. But yes. Yes, in hindsight, it's actually pretty crazy. Okay, so on topic, let's see. We've got our what's happening done,
Yep.
and we're just getting into the news here.
Yeah.
So we've got CES week, right?
It's huge week. Huge week. Consumer Electronics Show, for those that do not know about it, takes place in Vegas. Pretty amazing, and it's basically the time of year where all the companies say, here's the really cool stuff coming out this year, whether it be TVs, camcorders. We'll be talking about some of the more substantial technology that they're introducing later in the show. But yeah, it's a crazy week. It's definitely a good way to start out the year and be excited for what's coming up.
Totally. I mean, so this week at CES, we've seen a bunch of like little gadgets. The big kind of things are TVs are always huge at CES.
Yeah.
I'd say that this is probably the first CES in a while that I think has been what I would consider substantial. It seems to be like a little bit more like just the typical churn of like, we made a bigger TV. Guess what? We added another K. It's a thing. You're never, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But this year they've got, they have like little I don't know what the new technology is. It's like they've used a new dot system or something that's like hyper accurate. They've got basically the big 4K push, and then let's see what this is here. CES TV dots. How about that? Sure that will. Yeah, so there's all these new quantum dots. That's what they're calling it. So quantum dot is the new, what keeping up with the Joneses of TVs. I don't know a lot about it, but apparently it's fancy. But the thing that I really like about this CES is the cars. I mean, this is a huge transportation CES to me. We've seen a lot of autonomous vehicles that are coming up there. We've known that the Google cars, have been on the streets. I think they said they logged somewhere around 700,000 miles or something like that just on California roads, their cars.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that automakers have invested in bringing some of this technology to their own offerings. And I think the major ones were BMW and what was it, Audi, I think was the other one. And so these cars are, they're parking themselves. They have kind of, they are autonomous. You sit back. You have to be in front of, the driver's seat wheel so that you can take it. But basically, you get onto the road and it just drives you where you want to go. And in fact, in all their presentation pieces, you use your smartwatch, use smartphone, all that to actually summon the car up to you to go and park it. And it sounds like it's working. There was a pretty good Verge article about how they jumped into the BMW and they were instructed to try to crash it.
They had a really clever way of saying it. Like, we tried to crash the BMW and we couldn't.
Right. Exactly, and so like they're literally like telling you to gun it towards walls, or something as substantial as that, and it's basically braking within a few inches of it because it's smart enough and it has a big enough sensor array to do it. So that's awesome to me. Like, to me, that is the future that I've wanted to see for a long time.
Absolutely, and it's funny because like it brings me back to I don't know, I was probably like 12 years old or something, and there was some TV show or the news or something that was like, one day everything will be all transportation vehicle wise, will be automated. However, more on like a track system. And I think as technology progresses, obviously a couple decades ago, you can't like be like, oh, there's going to be computers that are smart enough to do this outside of the realms of sci-fi movies. But like, it's actually it's weird to like see it in our lifetime how fast technology is advancing, and especially with major like Google. okay, so they're a technology company, it kind of makes sense. But then you're seeing Audi and BMW jump on the same bandwagon, and it's awesome. It truly is. As someone that commutes from Omaha to Kansas City, once every month or two, like, I hate that drive. It's 3 hours of doing the exact same thing, and me not being able to work. If I could like work in a car, like, and not have to worry about anything, like, done. I wish there was a high-speed rail in between the cities, but that's a whole nother rant I could go on.
So you want personal hyperloops, essentially. Yeah. They go from your grocery store down the block to your house. I like this future. I think this is an expensive, amazing future, but I want to see it happen. But no, the autonomous vehicle. I mean, yeah, it's for those of us who are in urban cities, I mean, cars suck. Even in the city, I mean, they suck, and parking is always an issue. And I'd love to be able to simply, tell my car on the outskirts of town or whatever it is. I just get out and say, park yourself, and then just walk into, where I need to go. You wouldn't have all these, extra streets and things like that. You could have more walkable space, more density. Which I'm a big fan of. I don't know about everyone else, but that's exciting to me. That is future tech, right?
Yeah, and it's fun to see. We'll be shortly discussing Elon Musk, but it's actually interesting to see vehicle transportation as technology progresses, but on two sides. So Google is approaching it as an autonomous, whereas Tesla is attacking it as, let's be more green, but as being more green, we don't have to sacrifice being in a stupid car. We can have freaking awesome cars, and where they're gonna meet within the next few years, where it's like, okay, well, now everything's battery powered and it's awesome, and everything can drive itself, or at least have assisted driving. And because Tesla actually just announced that they're working on the power outlet that like basically snakes over to the system and plugs itself into the car, and it's just like, what? It's like, where? What? Why? Who? Like, those are things that kids dream of in sci-fi movies, and it's happening.
Yeah.
Yes, I love everything about this current, future, present day, everything. I love it.
I'm super excited about it. And, besides all the crazy autonomous cars, I mean, they're all saying, all these car manufacturers are basically saying that in a decade is kind of where the mark is to hit, where this is a substantial amount of the marketplace that would be captured by autonomous vehicles, fully autonomous vehicles. I don't know if that means, I mean, the idea of a car itself starts to change, right, when you don't have all the pieces of it that we have today. Like, if you don't have a steering wheel, it's a box, right? Like, it's a container for people that you're moving, which is kind of going back to the fundamentals of transportation. But even Google has said, 5 years, small market. I mean, 5 years isn't that far away. I mean, I think
it's not at all.
Yeah, right. That's exciting.
Like, just think about it. 5 years ago, probably it's probably about now. 5 years ago, they were just doing Google Street, and now it's everywhere. And like Google Street View, like that mapping, and it's always updating. And it's like, at that point, it's like, well, how long is it gonna do their streets? And I wouldn't get my street done for another 2 years. Now everything's mapped, or at least captured. So I think 5 years is definitely like
doable.
Like, it's awesome. Like, it's
perceivable.
It's so close.
As business plans go, like at least traditionally, you set 5 years out like that. It's getting close enough to taste. So outside of the CES, BMW, Audi, that sort of thing, there was another one that I was pretty excited about. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
The scooter?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, this scooter. So this is. Well, yeah, we love us some scooters and personal devices. I think more so on your side, Cody, as you've explored this a lot more in
Yes,
depth than
yes.
me. However, I think we both appreciate it at a very city level. As two people that love to live in the city core. I live downtown Omaha. You live downtown Kansas City.
Mhm.
Kansas City, Omaha are very similar in the sense of how they're not necessarily laid out, but like as how people live. And
Yeah.
so, downtown is, more businessy. However, there's entertainment district. All that said, this scooter, electric scooter, they say that it's backed. What blew my mind is that it has like $120 million in funding
Yeah.
from a Taiwanese
These are all
Taiwanese
yeah.
investors. And it's a startup, and so anyway, these scooters are very Vespa-esque, and their thought is, down the line, is to have like not necessarily charging stations where you hook the scooter up, but where you actually pull the batteries out, you plug it in, almost like Ghostbuster, sticking the ghost.
Essentially, right?
Yeah, they say that they're about milk jug size batteries, two of them. You pull them out. Those two, I believe, get you like 60 plus ish miles on this very stylish scooter. And it, in America, or at least in the Midwest, speaking, Americans are not like built towards like, oh, scooters, oh, that's cool. But I mean, you get into these Asian countries, and scooters are the way of life. And as someone who's spent 3 months in Taiwan, like, it's awesome to see that. And like, you're looking at lower energy consumption, and you're looking at as an overall population, you're looking at something that fits your daily needs better, in my opinion. Because like right now, I drive to work, and it's I'm driving a car with a backpack to work.
Right.
I can do that with a scooter, and it's lower impact and all that. But these scooters are awesome. It's awesome that they have backing as much as they do.
And
I guess my own.
I mean, this scooter is probably one of the sexiest things I've ever seen. It pretty much, the dashboard is completely digital. And then here are the batteries that are in the seat. You literally just pick them up and then plop them in. What they are wanting to do is an infrastructure play where you can basically just pull up and then sink it in. It's actually quite cool because when it senses you pulling them out of your your scooter, and because it's in close proximity, it actually like pre-pulls out one of these guys so you can grab it easier. Because it can
you stick it in, and it pushes out two more to replace it, or however many.
Yeah, I mean the thing is just gorgeous.
It's super slick. It's what technology should be in a vehicle of this era, I guess, this decade, this generation. But yeah, like just the batteries even by themselves, like I said, like it's something out of Ghostbusters almost. They're like shoving it in and like pulling. It's just so freaking cool, and they're definitely seeking functionality as well as beautiful design. They nailed it, I think.
Pure sex from like a product perspective.
I mean, take a step back and seriously ask yourself, if the Stig and Daft Punk rode a scooter, wouldn't you want to ride it too? Like, that's what that video is. It's like, here is like Daft Punk riding a scooter with Stig style.
I would agree with that. I would agree with
it's
that.
It's just so amazing. I want it. I want it now.
Yeah, I mean it, and I have no idea what the price is, like at all.
None.
No clue.
I mean, it's the company is a startup. This is what they're solely working on right now. I don't know when they're looking to release. However, I'm gonna guess that they're working on the technology to bring down the cost. That the introduction price is probably $3,500 to $5,000.
Yeah.
Which at that point, you think about it, Vespas and other scooter-ish things in that are petrol or gasoline based is like the same price, like especially Vespa.
Yeah, I would agree. I would I hope that we can check this video back, or look back at this and then see what the price actually is.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably on par. And I mean, I've been looking at other transportation mechanisms, like the Irby, which was at CES last year, which is a dorky little new Segway kind of thing that I kind of like. I feel like I get fruit thrown at me at some level, but I can definitely still see myself riding one. And it's having some milestone issues, but it was set at around 700, 800. It might actually get larger than that because I think they're manufacturing it domestically. And then even if you look at the cheapest kind of petrol for the new vehicles, again, this might be, steam as well, but the Elio is set to be, $6 or $7 grand as well, and it's an 80 mile per gallon petrol vehicle. So it's all kind of in that space, in the 1 to 6 kind of range, and I would bet that this guy would fall in that realm too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, again, like they just nailed that design so well, like just amazing.
I would definitely agree. So we're both going to get some. We're both going to get one of these guys, and we're going to ride. Actually, we're going to get the cool airbag necklaces. You've seen these things, right? They're supposed to be less dorky than actual helmets, and when it can test, when it knows that you're falling, it actually deploys, which I think is kind of cool. A lot of people probably aren't comfortable with, like, after I start falling, then it starts. But
that reminds me of it's either on his watch or on his suit jacket or parka. James Bond, and it was a Pierce Brosnan one. I think it was maybe the second or third movie he was in. Going down avalanche, he pulls it, and it like inflates around him to protect him. And it's totally like that, except for just your head.
Just your head. I don't know. I think it's a Swedish company, had created it. It's actually very fun to watch, like crash test dummies in slow motion. There's like a solid couple minutes of just like watching crash dummies explode and like fall over, and then it deploys, and that's very fancy. I like that very much. So that's kind of CES this year, at least kind of the main highlights that I noticed.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I haven't been following CES all that closely this year. But honestly, I haven't heard much else come out of it. I mean, last year was a 4K push. This year's a 4K push. Like, the standard's not even really set, so there's Ultra 4K or Ultra HD or whatever it is, and it's just like, but the standard's not a standard, and it's just like, okay, cool. You can only hear 4K so many times before you're like, okay, I think I'm fine with my TV, which is a 1080p, for a while.
I did pick up a 4K this Christmas, which is fine. I mean, again, it's just that, there isn't a lot of content for it. I do pay a little bit extra on Netflix in order to get kind of the UHD content. I hear that Hulu, if they don't already do a couple titles, is also in that boat. It was certainly when we were shooting with the GH4, like my Nexus 6 is a 4K as well. So I like it from that perspective, seeing photos and things like that. But I think it'll get better. I just think for a long time, of been like on a song, hoping that people will actually adopt this technology, because it's kind of fallen on deaf ears for a while. But I don't know. Historically, I'm betting that's pretty common,
Well, and I guess we don't have this in our outline, but since we're kind of on it, 4K, it was actually interesting. I was looking for Ghostbusters on Blu-ray.
You're all about Ghostbusters tonight.
I'm all about Ghostbusters. That's why, So I was looking for it on Blu-ray, and the only copy I could find was a remastered to 4K. So it got me thinking, okay, what's normal, 35 millimeter film or even IMAX film in comparison to like what there's not pixels in it, and so they're adapting it, they're projecting it down, they're making film into digital, and it's like, all these original movies that they're converting, Ghostbusters being one that I actually saw. It's like, well, when you do this conversion, and it's still out there, I didn't do enough research, but like it's in between 3.5 to 6K. So we're actually running out of room for remastering. And I know like you probably have some leeway because it's film and you can kind of do more with it than just kind of digital.
Sure,
but
sure.
like at the same time, like I'm just like thinking about the future where I'm like, okay, cool, I just bought Wizard of Oz on Blu-ray. Well, that was shot, coming up on a century ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
a
right,
little bit less. But, when you think about it like that, you're just like, okay, you can only future-proof this. And they weren't even thinking about future-proofing. It was just how it was. It's just interesting to think about the physical media or medium that content has been recorded to in the past and how far we can actually stretch it before we hit our limitations.
Yeah, and on the other side of that too, I mean, you're noticing that even as people aren't buying 4K videos, I mean, you're shooting modern movies on 5K reds, right? And so I'm seeing that even people are downscaling 4K into 1080p, but you're still seeing all the benefits of those larger formats too. So there's kind of like a weird middle ground going on in kind of this war of the formats that I think it'll win out to be 4K.
Yeah.
There's not a standard for it yet, right?
Well, and what's interesting is that what the new iMacs are 5K.
Right.
And it's just like, it's like, okay, Apple pulled that number. But it's interesting, as you said that, it is, like, thinking about the last decade. So, like, Hollywood didn't really switch over to digital. George Lucas kind of pushed it for the new, the episode 1, 2, and 3, but he specifically had that digital camera made. But now, we've caught up so fast to almost future-proofing where, like you said, Red is, no less than 4K, it has their 5K and they're looking at the 6K or whatever, and it's just like, so where film 60 years ago had like the big amount, and we're always bringing it down. Film has always been moved down outside of like movie theaters. Like we're already caught up into future proofing. That's I don't know.
It's a weird concept, right? Like.
Yeah.
I guess it's just par for the course in digital or in new technology, but it is still weird. I think what did I see in it was 8K. I mean, they've been pushing 8K at the most recent video conferences. Yeah.
Well, NAB. Yeah, I went to NAB last year in Vegas, and that's for National Association of Broadcasters, and everyone was pushing their 4K cameras, and even companies that weren't even into video cameras were coming out with models, Blackmagic being one of them, Aja, who's known for their video cards. They're pushing 4K. Well, then you have like these, I think it was a Korean or a Thai company that was pushing 8K. And it was so crazy because what they're, then even showing is you shoot it at 8K. No, you're not going to present it in 8K, but now you have this much content to work with for a screen this big, so you can like instead of like zooming in on the the actor's face, you can shoot it wide. Right. And you have so much resolution that you can go.
They're shooting 8K because of it's all special effects. I mean, being able to shoot in high res for special effects is the main capture point. I mean, that you can use all that pixel data when you're doing anything from facial mapping to environmental. I mean, I remember seeing just how pervasive the actual CGI pieces of even the things you would never think about, like Law and Order, is actually just green screen sets. Like, it's weird to me. They literally create the entirety of New York, and all you see are like the major like pillars where they're walking outside the courthouse and like actually talking about whatever the case was. So it shocks me how real it already looks, and how much of it really is CGI. We just don't even notice anymore, or that it's so real that it doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah.
So all right. So next on the docket is I have a Billy Gates. Billy Gates, he's up to some cool stuff.
As always, as always.
Yeah, he's doing great stuff. But basically, he's funded. I believe they've either been endowed, gotten the grant, or whatever. What's called the Omni processor, and what this thing does is it actually takes in human waste. They call it sludge, and what it does is it actually heats it up, and the water gets removed from the sludge. And then, just like reverse osmosis, the water vapor is essentially the purest form of water. They collect that, turns that into drinking water. The sludge itself has now been dehydrated into ash that I assume you use for agriculture and things like that. I think it breaks up the ground so you can aerate it. But apparently you can sell the ash. You can utilize the water, sell the water, and then because the water is also being generated, it is an electric generator as well. So you can actually sell off the electricity. So it's a very interesting concept. I mean, at some level, you're putting in human waste and coming out with 3 byproducts that you can sell or help impoverished nations or whatever it is. And that's what it's geared towards, is these developing countries.
Over 2.5 billion people have no access to safe sanitation. We asked brilliant engineers to help us solve this problem. And one of those engineers actually has proposed a solution where the waste is valuable.
The Omni processor turns sewer sludge, which is kind of nasty, into clean drinking water, electricity, and ash that is pathogen-free. This is where the sludge enters the machine. It goes up this conveyor belt, is fed into these large tubes we call the dryer. That's where we boil the sludge. And in the boiling process, we separate the water vapor from the solids. The solids are now dry, and we can feed them into the fire. Once we have this very hot fire, we can make high pressure, high temperature steam. And we take that steam and we send it to a steam engine. And the steam engine drives a generator that makes electricity that we use for the processor, and also excess electricity that can be delivered back to the community. The water vapor that's created in the boiling process is run through a cleaning system until we have the cleanest, purest water you can possibly imagine.
The sanitation system as we know it in the developed world cannot work in developing countries. So what we need in developing countries is a very simple system.
The entrepreneur that owns this processor will get paid for the input, the sludge. And that same entrepreneur will get paid for the outputs, the electricity, the water, and the ash.
I am very impressed with this solution we're seeing here. It generates electricity, it generates clean water.
It will grow to every corner of the earth that needs it because it makes money every day.
It's water.
So that's crazy, right? Like at
So
some level,
crazy.
that's like the most efficient machine ever, right? So one thing I didn't mention was that you get paid for the human sludge, too.
Yeah,
I mean, because
coming
you
in.
have to get
It's
rid of
coming
it.
in.
Use it.
Yep.
It's a waste. It's a byproduct they can't do anything with. That's crazy.
It's so crazy, but what I think is like amazing, crazy all the way down. I just found it hilarious that Bill Gates like just slipped it. He was just like almost like, I trust my brilliant engineers. Kind of.
What
It's just
would
like-
happen if it's like it's like it tastes like piss, like a little bit. But I don't like. It's amazing.
I mean, yeah. Again, I'm not downplaying it any other way, other than it's just like, here's a look. Yeah, tastes like water. Okay, but yeah, and they said that cup of water was produced in like 5 minutes or so.
Right.
And it's just like,
right.
yeah, that like to the most efficient way you're recycling, reusing waste. That in no other way could be at that level of use.
It's impressive. I mean, I don't know of a lot of machines that are that efficient. Period. And it solves clearly it solves tons of problems. I mean, you can see the inventor of the Segway has a company called the Slingshot, or a product called the Slingshot, and it does something very similar, but it didn't have a way to solve the waste. So, I mean, excuse me.
I'm over here doing the same.
I mean, it's doing more than just human waste, though. The slingshot. I mean, it's taking almost like toxic cess, and turning that into the water process. So if it can work for that, then it can work for something like this. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And it's not even like, if you look at what a typical water treatment plant is, the thing is huge, it's massive, it's expensive. I mean, considering the size of that, it wasn't that large. It was essentially like a substation or smaller. Yeah,
I mean, that was definitely on the lines of the in Gold Rush or whatever the show is on Discovery, the machine, I forget the processor to shake out the gold from the payload. It's about the same size. Like, these machines are not anything greater or smaller than something that's already out there, and it's a small footprint for what it does.
It really is. It really is. Another piece of human ingenuity there, right?
Yeah.
We're living in the damn future, son. Okay, so what else is on the agenda? We've got, oh yeah, you got your Elon Musk thing.
Elon Musk did Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and it turned into pure gold as always. For those that don't really know who Elon Musk is, he was one of the people early on in PayPal. He now is the CEO of Tesla and the CTO of a space program called SpaceX. He's also working on some other project that is probably amazing, Solar City. So, like, basically, this is the guy that you wish to be, outside of, like, James Bond style. Like, he is the guy that is literally changing.
He's our Tony Stark.
Every sense of it. Definitely Tony Stark's perfect example. So basically, he has just a massive amount of money to do great things in technology, and it's really, like, it's kind of an interesting approach, because he does it in the way of, like, I want to advance technology, but it's not to be like, hey, hey, everyone follow the lead. It's like, hey, I want this, so I'm going to build it because I have that amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, they are moonshots. I mean, in a literal sense of the word. I mean, he also does the Hyperloop. I mean, this is a man that is thinking on a huge scale, and basically, where we have the technology, we can rebuild him. But yeah, why aren't we doing something with this? This is a man that has great vision, and he does believe that we have a responsibility to use the technology that we have to do great things. And in some ways, without, we don't have the space race anymore. We aren't thinking as big as we used to, and yeah. I love seeing that. I mean, it's a great thing for mankind in general, right?
Yeah, and so anyway, he did Ask Me Anything, which is basically people can comment, he responds, and most of it was about SpaceX, and it's intriguing to understand that SpaceX kind of came out of his dreams of having his ashes buried on Mars, essentially, and it's just like, again, like, I have the money, I'm going to figure this out. Others could benefit from this, but I'm going forward because, Tesla is now an open source, or not even an open source, but, the patents can be widely used by anyone in how their cars are made. Anyway, I think my favorite part of the whole Ask Me Anything is someone was like, what's your favorite airplane, video game, food, and alcohol? And basically he responded as if, like, on my terms, or at least in, it's almost, I almost have to be like, are we best friends now? I love this. So he responded back with SR-71, which is the Blackbird, just an amazing feat for aerodynamics or aero vehicles. he picked out, he loves first-person shooters, story mode. I love those. And then French and barbecue favorite food, coming, originally from Kansas City. How can I not like barbecue? And then his last one is whiskey. I'm just like, are you serious? Like, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's all I have to say about that.
Hang out with. Like, what do you think a date night with Elon Musk would be like? Even just a bro date.
Oh man, so many scribbles and so many domain names, bots.
So your perfect night is getting drunk with Elon Musk and purchasing half of the uncharted internet.
Yes.
I think that's a pretty good goal, actually. Do you think he'd take us up on it?
I can only hope.
I don't think he will. I don't.
Not at all.
Okay, so, I mean, what else do we have to talk about? We've got a show and tell, but do you have anything to show and or tell about?
I'll show mine. You go get your show and tell. The most ridiculous thing that's going to be on the show. So anyway, Coty and I thought it would be a great idea to do a show and tell, something that, we own personally, or has rediscovered or found or built or something along those lines. And mine this week is my Moto 360, mostly because it has the James Bond GoldenEye video game watch face. I'm trying to get there with no glare. And so, come on, camera. Maybe? Either way, you see it. Anyway, Moto 360, nothing new, but it is, I just got it for Christmas. It's a fantastic watch. Coty has one as well. I think we're both in agreement that it's the best wearable out there. There's Coty's. And so it's amazing. It's definitely, again, taking us to the next step in technology. It's nice to be able to step away from your phone but still be connected. And then it's also like Dick Tracy-esque, because you can be like, okay, Google. And it has the okay Google features on it, and it's finding that as well. But it's a great watch. It's a great wearable. If you're looking at any of them, they're awesome. Yeah. So Motorola did a fantastic job with design. It's sleek, functional, and sexy. And that's my show and tell. Coty, I think you have to unmute yourself and go for what you're about to show.
So, this is what I got. It's a sleeping bag suit. So, by the way, no, they should have just promoted it as the static electricity maker. Because as I walk in this fucking house, I will discharge on everything and die at some level. I mean, we've got the cold air and everything. But anyway, so this whole thing, it's got a hood and everything. Just zip it up. Look at there's like footies on it. You can't like unzip them or anything, but there's like some grit on them, so extra non-slip. And then like they start out like by default in this, like you can't get your hands out.
I don't understand the thought behind buying this product, but I approve.
A little bit of, I can like pull them up so I can use my hands. See, this is science. So what I did was, it's in the middle of the winter, okay, and I've got these giant bay windows that are they're huge. And they let all the heat out in my house. Right now, my Nest is cranking at it says, hey, I'm at 70 degrees, but the temperature here is like 50 or something. It's probably not bad. But so I guess this came out of kind of an eccentric thing that I do. When I'm at home, I have a sleeping bag, and I just I sit in it. I play video games. I sit at the computer with it. And it keeps my feet warm, and so. But the problem was I was hopping all over my house, I'm like, I'm an idiot, right? Because I'm hopping all over. I think I'm missing a point here, but, you know, whatever. So I got, like, a fully articulating sleeping bag that, when I'm not in public, people don't know that I'm just, like, sitting in my house playing PlayStation or, you know, on my computer or writing notes or whatever it is I'm doing, and I'm in this thing. I almost don't want... People are going to know now, but I don't know. I kind of wish this was my dirty little secret, but I guess it's not anymore.
It's ridiculous.
So anyway, this is my Selk'bag. I mean, like I said, I'm warm right now. It's great. It's not the coolest looking thing. I'll say that.
It's well, but it's, you know, you're using it in the privacy of your own home.
It's, I don't know, where does this lie in the Snuggie category? Like, is it cooler than a Snuggie?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a tactical Snuggie. The sad thing is, like, on the website, they're trying to make this look cool. I don't think it's possible. I really don't think it's possible. I mean, it's kind of cool that, like, I feel like Captain Kirk when, like, the ship is all fucked up and he's, like, he can, like, zip down half of his jacket and he's all sweaty and he's, like, this is, like, the Dishonor kind of look. But, like, if you look at the website, what is it called? Selk'bags, first off.
Oh, jeez. You can't do that. Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up a video, and they actually made this, like, super, like, fashion-forward video of this Selk'bag. And it's, like, slow motion, and there's, like, a dude with a grizzly beard, and he's supposed to look all manly. I just don't know how it's possible. Now, I'm not saying I'm not masculine by any standard. So I think maybe I'm okay with wearing something like this because I know my place in the world already. I think we have the gist of this. This is painful to watch. It wasn't the video that I thought it was, but like you can see they're trying really hard.
They're trying too hard at something that they're really definitely not. They need to just like attack the Snuggie and be like, we're the most badass wearable comfort warmer. I don't even know what class of outfit that is.
I just don't know what it is. And I mean, would you think? Are you gonna get one of these things, T-Rave?
No. But like, okay, I will say you do look kind of cool in it. It looks kind of like a spacesuit, which I'm down for. Like I'd buy it in white and put like a NASA patch on it. That's me. But like, I'm pretty warm-blooded, so like, it's very rare that I cover up outside of bed.
I've slept in this thing. I did that last night, and I just felt like it was okay. Like I liked it. It wasn't bad.
Okay, so I will say, as someone that used to camp a lot, I think the sleeping bag is flawed because you can't move around, and like I'm someone that likes to like sleep with my arm under the pillow, and like it just that makes sense. But like actually using it like in nature is the most ridiculous thing they could even market towards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think these guys really, like, were worried about... I mean, can you think about, like, being around the product meeting on this? Like, in the conference room, they're all sitting around a table, and they're like, you know, I fucking bought the thing. I guess I can't...
You don't have much room to say anything.
I do like it, though. Like, secretly, I like it. I just want to keep my feet warm And maybe save some money with the Nest. Didn't put it up so high. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know anyone else who would buy this.
I mean, I would consider. But it's not a it's not a must-have.
Yeah, I think I got this one for about $100.
Okay, so that's not terrible.
That's an experimental cache mode, maybe. I don't know. Product research. Okay, well, so that's like it. That's
it.
That's what we have. For the sad souls that made it this far, I hope we didn't disappoint too badly. I'm betting we did, though.
Maybe. But you should have known that walking in.
I feel like everyone who just got here is like, my day, whatever, is wasted. I hate those guys.
Why did I wake up this morning?
Well, maybe we'll make some other bad mistakes and make another couple episodes in this, and yeah, we'll ruin other people's days down the line. How about that?
That's a promise.
Okay, well, that's it. I guess we're gonna sign off, and I suppose we will see you out in the world or online.
We'll include all the links and all the other stuff, like somewhere, wherever we post this.
A website with a logo on it at some point. I don't know.
Maybe. Who can know?
Maybe I should just get like a photo shoot of us in Selk'bags in provocative poses. Think we can make any...
Maybe they can be a sponsor of blownpixel.tv.
You know, we did just give them some pretty good ad space.
That was like a quarter of the whole show.
It was. I feel like this should have been subsidized at least. I feel like I should have gotten it at least for free.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it.
That's it.
Stop the broadcast. Thank you for watching. If you're still there, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. All right. Bye.
See you later.
Please hang up and try again.